Hey, you. Welcome back to Secrets with Maeve, the space for the conversations we usually keep to ourselves. I'm Maeve. Today, we're talking about something I know so many of us struggle with in silence: why women get awkward around you, the high status signal. Let's get into it. She didn't change suddenly. You just didn't understand what was happening. You're sitting across from her at the cafe, the same woman who used to laugh easily and text back within minutes. Today, she's different. Her voice is softer. Her eyes flick away when you hold them too long. Yet, she leans in just a fraction closer every time you speak. She teases you about something small, then apologizes too quickly, as if she's afraid she went too far. Later, she cancels plans at the last minute with a vague excuse, only to message you at midnight asking what you're doing. You replay the conversation in your head, and it feels not bad. Exactly, just unpredictable. One moment, she seems completely into you. The next, she's distant, almost guarded. You tell your friends she's acting weird, and they shrug it off as women being women, but deep down, you know it's more specific than that. It only happens with certain men, and lately it's happening around you. This is the moment most men miss. They focus on the surface behavior, the mixed signals, the sudden shyness, the playful tests, and they try to fix it with more attention, more jokes, more effort. What they don't see is that her weirdness is not random. It's not about you saying the wrong thing or wearing the wrong shirt. It's about something far quieter and far more powerful, an unspoken status that your presence is broadcasting without a single word. Women are wired to read status before they read words, not the loud, obvious kind: job title, car, follower account. The deeper, invisible kind that lives in how you carry yourself, how you respond to tension, how much emotional space you take up without trying. When she senses this status rising in you, her nervous system reacts before her mind can catch up. That reaction looks like weird behavior because it's ancient. It's the same wiring that once told her ancestors which man could protect the tribe without ever needing to prove it. You feel the confusion because you're still operating from the old script. If she likes me, she should act consistent. But consistency is what women show when status feels safe and average. When status feels high and uncertain, their behavior becomes a dance testing, pulling back, leaning in, because their instincts are trying to calibrate whether this man is actually as strong as he feels. Right now, somewhere in your life, a woman is doing exactly this around you. Maybe it's the barista who remembers your order but stumbles over small talk. Maybe it's the colleague who used to be all business and now finds reasons to linger at your desk. Or maybe it's the woman you've been seeing who suddenly seems both more attracted and more cautious. The pattern is the same, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Her actions are no longer confusing. They are data. They are the first quiet signals that something inside you has shifted, and she feels it before you do. This is where the real conversation begins. Not about what she's doing on the surface, but about the hidden status she's reacting to beneath it. Because understanding that single truth changes every interaction from this moment forward. What's actually happening beneath the surface is a psychological process most men never learn to name. Women don't consciously scan for status the way men often imagine. It's not a checklist. It's a feeling. A subconscious calibration that happens in the first few seconds of real presence. Evolutionary psychologists call it mate value assessment. But that phrase is too clinical for what it really is: an ancient survival scan. Her nervous system is asking one quiet question: is this man's internal world bigger than the moment we're in? When the answer is yes, her behavior shifts in ways that look erratic from the outside. She feels a spike in attraction mixed with a spike in vulnerability. That combination creates the weirdness. Attraction pulls her toward you. Vulnerability makes her protect herself. The result is push-pull, hot, cold, teasing, then retreating because her mind is trying to resolve a tension it has never been taught to explain. This unspoken status isn't about dominance in the aggressive sense. It's about emotional sovereignty. It's the quiet knowledge that you don't need her validation to feel whole. You don't collapse when she pulls away. You don't chase when she tests. And paradoxically, the less you chase, the more her system registers you as high status. Most men misunderstand this because they were raised on the myth that women want constant reassurance. In reality, constant reassurance signals that your status is dependent on her reaction. When she senses that dependency, her attraction flattens. But when she senses independence, real grounded independence, something primal, wakes up. She starts to act weird because her body is experiencing a status differential she can't ignore. Think of it like this. Status is not something you perform. It's something you embody. It lives in the microsecond pauses before you speak, in the way you hold eye contact without forcing it, in the calm way you respond when she throws a small emotional curveball. Women read these micro cues faster than words because they have to. For thousands of years, choosing the wrong man could cost everything. So their psychology developed an almost supernatural sensitivity to unspoken power. This is why the same woman can be warm and open with one man and strangely guarded with another. It's not inconsistency on her part, it's accuracy. She is responding to the invisible frequency you are transmitting. When that frequency rises, when your internal status grows, she feels it like a change in air pressure. Her laughter gets a little higher. Her questions get a little more personal. Her body language starts to betray her before her words do. And here is the part most men never hear. This reaction is not something you manufacture with pickup lines or money or muscles. It is something you become. The moment you stop needing her to complete you, her nervous system registers the shift. That registration is what creates the 7 signs you're about to recognize. Because once you understand the why, the what becomes crystal clear. Her weird behavior stops being a problem to solve and starts becoming a mirror reflecting the status you have quietly stepped into. Now let's look at the hidden patterns. The 7 signs that she is reacting to your unspoken status. These don't appear all at once and they don't look the same with every woman, but when they show up, they follow the same invisible logic. The first sign is the sudden micro-nervousness. She was relaxed a moment ago. Now her hands fidget with her glass. She touches her neck. Her laugh comes out a little too quickly. This isn't discomfort in the negative sense. It's arousal mixed with respect. Her body is registering a status higher than her usual calibration, and the nervous system responds with small, involuntary movements. The second sign is the playful test wrapped in teasing. She says something slightly challenging. "You always seem so calm. What's your secret?" With a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Most men hear criticism and defend themselves. What's actually happening is she's checking whether your status is fragile. If you stay grounded, her attraction deepens. If you over-explain, it drops. The third sign is the eye contact dance. She holds your gaze longer than normal, then suddenly looks away and smiles to herself. This is her subconscious trying to break the tension your presence creates. High status creates a kind of gravitational pull. She feels it and has to momentarily pull back just to breathe. The fourth sign is the sudden personal question that feels out of nowhere. She's known you for weeks as the easygoing guy, then out of the blue asks about your childhood or what you're most afraid of. She's not being nosy. She's trying to map the depth of the man whose status she just felt. The fifth sign is mirroring, followed by resistance. You shift in your chair, she shifts too. You lower your voice. Hers softens. Then, almost as if catching herself, she crosses her arms or changes the subject. This is the push-pull in physical form. Her body wants to align with your status. Her mind wants to test if it's safe to do so. The sixth sign is the delayed response that isn't rejection. She takes longer to reply to texts. Not because she's uninterested, but because your presence now occupies more space in her mind. She's thinking about you when she's not with you. The delay is her way of slowing down the intensity she feels. The seventh sign is the quiet, emotional softening. She stops performing. The polished, always-on version of herself relaxes. She lets small vulnerabilities show, tired sighs, honest admissions, even moments of silence. This is the deepest sign. When a woman feels unspoken status, she no longer needs to protect her image. She starts to let you see the real her because she senses you can hold it. These 7 signs are not random. They are the external map of an internal recalibration. She is not acting weird because something is wrong with you or with her. She is acting weird because something is right. Your status has crossed a threshold. Her instincts recognize, but her conscious mind hasn't yet named. This is where most men misunderstand everything. They see these 7 signs and immediately try to fix the situation. They text more, explain more, chase more. They think the weirdness means they've done something wrong. In reality, the weirdness is proof they've done something right. The very behaviors that feel confusing are the evidence that her nervous system has registered the rise in your unspoken status. The mindset shift required here is subtle, but total. Stop seeing her behavior as a problem to solve and start seeing it as information to read. When she teases, don't defend. Smile and hold the frame. When she pulls back, don't pursue. Stay present and let the tension breathe. When she asks a deep question, don't overshare. Answer with quiet confidence and let her invest more. Most men were taught that love is about effort. Female psychology runs on a different operating system. Attraction is about perceived capacity. The moment she feels you have more emotional capacity than the moment requires, her attraction mechanism activates. Chasing signals the opposite. Calm presence signals exactly what her instincts are looking for. This shift changes the power dynamic without ever becoming manipulative. You're not playing games. You're simply refusing to collapse into the old pattern of seeking her approval. And paradoxically, that refusal is what makes her feel safe enough to open up. Think about the men women describe as different. They're rarely the loudest or the richest. They're the ones whose internal world feels larger than the interaction. Women feel that largestness, and it makes them act weird because it disrupts their usual calibration. The misunderstanding is believing you need to shrink yourself to make her comfortable. The truth is, you need to stay expanded so she can feel the safety of your status. Once you make this mindset shift, the 7 signs stop feeling like chaos and start feeling like a language you finally understand. You no longer react from confusion. You respond from clarity. And that single change, moving from reaction to quiet recognition, is what separates men who chase from men who lead. You don't need to announce your status. You simply embody it. And when you do, her weird behavior becomes the most honest compliment she can give. Her nervous system just told her you are different. When you finally see it clearly, everything quiets down. The woman who once seemed unpredictable becomes readable. The mixed signals become a map. The tests become invitations. You realize she wasn't acting weird to push you away. She was acting weird because something in you pulled her closer than she was prepared for. This understanding gives you control, not over her, but over yourself. You stop needing to decode every text, every pause, every teasing remark. You simply stay grounded in your own status, and her behavior becomes a reflection instead of a riddle. The deepest truth is this: the moment you stop trying to manage her emotions and start managing your own presence, the dynamic transforms. She feels it, she responds to it, and slowly the weirdness settles into something softer, a quiet, electric connection that doesn't need constant reassurance because it rests on something more solid than words. You don't have to become someone else. You only have to become more of who you actually are when no one is watching. The calm, self-contained man whose internal world is bigger than any single interaction. When you live from that place, Women don't just notice, they feel it in their bodies before they can explain it in their minds. And that feeling is what creates the connection most men spend their lives chasing. If this made you see things differently, if you finally understand why she acts the way she does around you, then you already know what to do next. Subscribe, because understanding her mind doesn't just change how you date, it changes how you show up in every room, every conversation, every moment that matters. The status was always inside you. Now you know how to let her see.